She was last seen alive just after midnight. There was no sign of fear, no struggle, no indication that anything was wrong. And yet, that was the last moment anyone could confirm she was still alive. This case begins in a quiet American town where serious crime was rare. The kind of place where people left their doors unlocked and believed nothing truly bad could happen. She was 23 years old, living alone, working a regular job, and planning a future that would never come. Friends described her as responsible and routine-driven. She didn't disappear without telling someone. She didn't take sudden trips. She didn't cut contact, which is exactly why her disappearance sent shockwaves through everyone who knew her. On the night she vanished, she went out with friends. It was supposed to be an ordinary night. Laughter, drinks, conversations that meant nothing at the time. There were no arguments, no visible tension, no reason to believe this night would be remembered for anything unusual. Shortly before midnight, she decided to head home alone. Multiple witnesses later confirmed seeing her walk toward the parking area. She appeared calm. She wasn't being followed, at least not that anyone noticed. A nearby security camera captured her walking down a dimly lit street, her figure briefly illuminated under a streetlight before fading into darkness. That footage would later become one of the most analyzed pieces of evidence in the entire investigation. Her phone records show activity for several minutes after that sighting. A message sent, another read, then nothing. No calls, no texts, no movement. Her phone never powered on again. The next morning, when she didn't arrive at work, concern quickly turned into fear. Family members tried calling her. Friends checked her apartment. Everything inside looked normal. Her keys were there. Her wallet was there. Her car was still parked exactly where she had left it, but she was gone. Police were notified within hours. Officers initially considered the possibility that she left voluntarily, but that theory quickly fell apart. There was no money withdrawn, no packed belongings, no digital trail suggesting she planned to disappear. Search efforts began immediately. Nearby roads, wooded areas, and empty buildings were searched. Volunteers joined law enforcement, hoping to find something, anything, that could explain what happened after she was last seen alive. As the hours turned into days, investigators began focusing on one disturbing question: if she made it home safely. How did she vanish without leaving a single trace? And more importantly, who was the last person to see her alive? That question would soon lead police down a path filled with contradictions, unanswered calls, and a timeline that didn't quite add up. But what investigators uncovered next would change the entire direction of the case. When investigators began reconstructing her final hours, the timeline seemed simple at first. She left with friends. She walked alone. She disappeared. But the deeper police looked, the more that timeline started to fracture. Detectives focused on the security footage. Frame by frame, they studied her walk, her posture, the shadows around her. In one clip, just before she moved out of view, something appeared briefly at the edge of the frame. It was subtle, easy to miss, but once seen, it raised an uncomfortable question. She might not have been alone. Police never publicly confirmed what that shadow was, but internally it shifted the entire investigation. Officers began canvassing the area again, this time asking a different question. Not where did she go, but who else was there? Phone records revealed another detail. In the days leading up to her disappearance, she had been communicating with someone regularly. The messages themselves were never released, but investigators confirmed they weren't casual. Whoever this person was, they were part of her daily routine. When police tried contacting that individual, they didn't get an answer. Friends were questioned next. Some mentioned a recent change in her behavior. Nothing dramatic, just small things. She seemed distracted, cautious, as if something was weighing on her mind, something she hadn't shared with anyone. Search teams expanded their efforts. Dogs were brought in. Nearby routes were retraced repeatedly, but no physical evidence was found. No clothing, no phone, no sign of a struggle. As days turned into weeks, pressure mounted on investigators. Media attention increased. Rumors began spreading through the town. Everyone seemed to have a theory, but no one had proof. Then came the call, a tip from someone who claimed to have seen her after the official last sighting. The witness described a figure matching her appearance, late at night, near a location police had already searched more than once. The time didn't fit the established timeline. If the sighting was real, it meant she was alive longer than anyone believed. Police rushed to reevaluate everything. If she didn't vanish when they thought she did, then the entire case had been built on the wrong moment. And that raised a far more disturbing possibility. What if the person responsible wasn't a stranger at all, but someone who knew exactly how to stay invisible? As investigators closed in on a new lead, one name surfaced repeatedly in the background of the case, a name that had been overlooked early on, a name connected to both her phone records and the area of the reported sighting. And once police realized that connection, they understood something chilling. They hadn't been asking the right questions from the beginning. By the time investigators turned their attention to the new lead, the case had already grown cold in the public eye. Months had passed. Tips slowed down. But inside the investigation, everything was shifting. The name that surfaced wasn't unfamiliar. In fact, it was someone who had been mentioned early on, briefly, almost casually, and then quietly set aside. At the time, there was no clear reason to suspect them. Nothing concrete, just proximity. But proximity, detectives now believed, was everything. Phone records showed overlapping locations. Not exact, but close enough to raise concern. On the night she vanished, this person's phone went silent around the same time hers did. That alone didn't prove anything, but it was a coincidence investigators couldn't ignore. When police attempted to speak with them again, the story changed. Small details no longer matched previous statements. Timelines shifted by minutes, then hours. And in cases like this, those changes mattered. Still, there was no physical evidence, no witness willing to go on record, no forensic trail, just suspicion and unanswered questions. Search efforts were quietly resumed in areas connected to the new lead. Once again, nothing was found. No trace of her, no indication she had ever been there. It was as if the ground itself refused to give up its secrets. Over time, the investigation stalled. Officially, the case remains open. Unofficially, detectives admit there is one question they can't escape. How does someone vanish in a populated area without a single confirmed trace? Some believe she never left the area at all. Others think she was taken far from where she was last seen. And then there are those who believe the truth is much closer, hidden behind ordinary routines, familiar faces, and a moment that looked harmless at the time. Her family still waits for answers. Every year, her photo is reshared, her name spoken again. And every time, the same silence follows. Someone knows what happened after she was last seen alive. Someone knows where she went. Until that person speaks, this case remains frozen in time. A reminder that sometimes the most terrifying mysteries are the ones with no ending. Because for her, the story didn't end. It simply stopped. Somewhere out there, the truth still exists. Hidden, unspoken, waiting. At the Global Casebook, we document the cases the world refuses to forget. Stories without answers. Questions without closure. If this case stayed with you, share your thoughts below. And if you believe every story deserves to be told, subscribe to the Global Casebook. Because until the truth is found, the case remains open.